There are certain tasks which must be completed on time in order to ensure that your project is completed by its end date. These tasks are critical, hence the name critical tasks, and together they form what we call the critical path of your project. If any task on that critical path becomes delayed at all, then your whole project becomes delayed. So as a project manager, as the project progresses and tasks are completed, you're going to want to manage that critical path and see how it changes. Knowing what your critical path is at any point during your project is crucial to helping you stay on task. Microsoft Project 2007 is designed to help you identify these critical tasks and help you manage your critical path. What we've done is we've opened up the Project Critical Path exercise file, which shows a Gantt chart at the top and your details of your tasks in the bottom. And the reason that we've opened it this way is so that we can take a little look at a couple of different items that are important when you are looking at your critical path. The one thing I want to identify here is at the bottom screen, and that's your lag or slack. And this is the amount of time that you can delay the task before that task moves on to the critical path. So right now, in the task that we're looking at, it's a summary task, the whole plan, I have no slack or lag identified. If I go down and select my second task, defining the purpose of the site, you'll notice that I've built in a little bit of lag here. I built in almost 2 days of lag. That's not a critical task at the moment because I have some leeway or some buffer built in. You'll also notice that's identified in the Gantt chart because I have an extended line between my two different task indicators. So when I have lag in there, even though it only takes a certain amount of time to complete, there is a buffer or a longer time between the end of one task and the beginning of the next. Now, some project managers like to use this slack, build it into their overall plan at the beginning so that when they go to try and create a shorter critical path, they have something to work with. Now, Project will treat all tasks with a specific number of days of slack as if those were on the critical path. Now, let's go see where we can identify that as a default. We'll go up to our Tools menu and pull it down to select the Options. And we'll make sure that we're looking at the Calculation tab. Now, in order to determine what tasks are critical, if there's slack in there, is way down at the bottom of the screen. We're going to set the number of days here that if tasks are critical, if the slack is less than or equal to this number of days. So right now, 0 means that every one of our tasks will probably be in our critical path because we have no leeway to work with. But here is where if you have a little bit of slack set in your overall project and you want to use the power of Project 2007 to help you work with the critical paths and your slack, here's where you would set that up. Now, there's other ways that you can identify the critical path when you're looking at your project plan. There's 2 different ways that you can do that with Project 2007. And I'm just going to remove this screen for the moment so that we can explore those. The first one is to apply a filter to identify all of the critical tasks on your plan. And you do that by going up to your filter box in your toolbar, selecting the drop-down list, and selecting critical as the task that you're going to want to look at. And it clears out your plan and just identifies for you here on your Gantt chart the critical tasks that you need to take into effect, as well as it only identifies the critical tasks over here on your table. For those of you that are more visual like me, another way to work with it is to identify the critical path by some formatting. So you can do that by going up to your Format options, going down to your bar styles, identifying and selecting the task out of your bar styles. And here, before we even move on, I wanted to digress for just a moment to show you how you can change the shape and appearance of your bar charts. So you can select the shape, making it a little bit thinner, and select the pattern that's going to be behind it. If I click OK, you'll see that it lightens up my screen quite a bit, so I'll be able to see some information that I may want to embed within my Gantt bars. So that's a nice way to change things up and make it a little bit more visually appealing for you. If I go back up to Format and select Bar Styles again, I also have the ability to identify certain information with that particular bar. Right now, I have the resource names identified to the right of the bar. And I also want to identify inside the bar whether or not this is a part of my critical path. I select Inside. I go down to my drop-down menu. I type in critical. CR takes me right to that particular space in my quick menu. I pick critical. I say, click the checkbox to make sure that it's captured in my dialog box. I click OK, and when I come back, you'll notice that in all of the critical path areas in my Gantt chart, I have a Y inserted. As I scroll through, for those items that are not in my critical path, there's nothing identified, or there's a no. So this identifies for me and makes it very visually recognizable what tasks are on my critical path or not. A no indicates no, they're not on my critical path. A yes means that they are. There's one final way that you can identify your critical path, and that's by using the Gantt chart wizard. So that's what we're going to be reviewing in our next movie.